The late summer sun hung low over Pine Creek, Montana, population 1,843, where the air smelled of ripe apples and distant pine. Marcus Chen's calloused hands moved mechanically through the evening orchard maintenance, his mind wandering as it often did during these solitary moments. At 22, he felt trapped in a liminal space between his parents' dreams and his own uncertain future. A community college dropout turned part-time mechanic, full-time disappointment to immigrants who'd sacrificed everything for his education. The Chen family orchard stretched across 20 acres of rolling Montana hillside, each tree holding memories of his childhood. Here was the gnarled old Golden Delicious where he built his first fort. There was the row of Honeycrisps his grandfather had planted the year before passing away. Every branch and root told a story of belonging, yet Marcus felt increasingly like a stranger in his own life. The first sign that this evening would be different came when the wind died. Not gradually, but all at once, as if nature itself had pressed pause. The sunset light, usually a warm gold painting the apples like Christmas ornaments, shifted to something altogether alien. A silvery luminescence that made each fruit glow like mercury suspended in glass. The air crackled with invisible energy, raising the hair on Marcus's arms. A scent like ozone and wildflowers filled his lungs, and the space between two ancient apple trees began to ripple like heat waves off summer asphalt. She emerged from this distortion as if being painted into reality by an unseen artist, first an outline of light, then a form that simultaneously echoed and transcended human beauty. Her body was architecturally perfect, but moved with a fluid grace that suggested something beyond Earth's physics. Platinum hair floated around her face as if she were underwater, yet each strand caught the light like fiber optics carrying starshine. The fabric of her dress seemed to be woven from aurora borealis, shifting through colors that had no names in any human language. But it was her eyes that froze Marcus in place, electric blue with pupils that kaleidoscoped through geometric patterns, ancient and newborn all at once. When she smiled, tiny points of light danced around her like a personal constellation, and the nearby apples resonated with a subtle hum. "Marcus Chen," she said, his name transformed into music by her voice. Each syllable carried harmonics that made his bones vibrate in sympathy. "Your DNA sings to me across the void between stars." The pruning shears slipped from his suddenly nerveless fingers, clattering against the ground in slow motion. Around them, time seemed to flow like honey, thick and golden with possibility. "Who?" he managed, his voice embarrassingly mortal in comparison to hers. "I am called Aria," she said, gliding closer. Each step left momentary footprints of light that bloomed into impossible flowers before fading. "Though my true name would shatter your consciousness. I've searched 12 galaxies, mapping genetic patterns across countless species, and you, Marcus Chen, are exactly what I've been looking for." His back pressed against rough bark as he retreated, suddenly very aware of his dirt-stained jeans and the sweat-soaked t-shirt that proclaimed Pete's Auto Repair in fading letters. His phone buzzed insistently in his pocket. Probably Jenny, his girlfriend of 3 years, texting about their dinner plans. Normal life seemed increasingly distant with each passing second. "You're an alien," he said, his voice barely a whisper. Aria's laugh sounded like wind chimes in a cosmic breeze, like planets singing to their moons. "Such a limited word, alien. I prefer evolutionary catalyst. And you, Marcus Chen, carry within your cells a genetic sequence that could save my dying race." She reached out with fingers that seemed partly flesh, partly energy, and touched his cheek. The contact felt like silk and electricity combined, sending cascades of images through his mind, crystal cities floating in violet skies, beings of pure light dancing between stars, civilizations rising and falling like waves on a cosmic ocean. "My what?" "Don't worry," she smiled, her teeth gleaming like pearls made of starlight. "Understanding will come. For now, just listen." The sun finally slipped below the mountains, and in the growing darkness, Aria's body began to glow softly from within, illuminating the orchard with otherworldly radiance. Marcus knew he should run, should call someone, his parents, the police, the government, anyone. He should at least answer Jenny's increasingly frequent texts. Instead, he stood transfixed as Aria began to tell him about worlds beyond imagination, her voice weaving a spell that would forever alter the course of his life. Above them, the first stars appeared, twinkling with what now seemed like knowing anticipation. The following 2 weeks transformed Pine Creek into a dreamscape for Marcus. Aria appeared like a recurring vision in the golden afternoon light between apple trees, during his late-night shifts at Pete's Auto Repair where she made the tools float and dance, and once memorably in the cab of his truck at Lookout Point, where her presence made the radio play songs from other galaxies. Each encounter stretched longer, grew more intimate. She taught him about her homeworld, Aria, painting pictures with words and light that materialized in the air around them. He saw crystalline cities that grew like living gems, each building responding to the thoughts of its inhabitants. Twin moons cast rainbow shadows across streets made of something between diamond and starlight, while beings of pure energy conducted symphonies with the cosmic radiation that pulsed through their world. "Your Earth is so vibrantly alive," she told him one night as they sat in the bed of his truck. Above them, the meteor shower seemed to dance to her unspoken commands, tracing patterns that made his eyes water when he tried to follow them. "So young, so full of raw potential. My people have grown too refined, too perfect in our pursuit of advancement. We're stagnating in our crystalline towers, becoming as cold and brilliant as the gems we shape." Her hand found his, and where their skin touched, miniature auroras rippled between them. Each point of contact sent waves of sensation through his nervous system, memories that weren't his own, emotions that had no names in human languages, desires that transcended physical form. Marcus tried to remember why this was dangerous, why he should pull away. Jenny's face floated in his mind. Sweet Jenny who'd helped him through his father's heart attack last year, who dreamed of opening a bakery in town, who loved him with a pure, uncomplicated devotion that now seemed as distant as Earth must look from Aria. "What do you really want from me?" he asked, his voice hoarse with emotions he couldn't identify. Aria turned those kaleidoscope eyes on him, her pupils shifting through fractal patterns that threatened to draw him into infinite recursion. "To create something new," she said, her voice harmonizing with the humming of the stars. "A bridge between worlds, between states of being. Your genetic code." Her fingers traced patterns on his skin that left trails of light. "There's something extraordinary hidden in your DNA, Marcus Chen. A mutation we've never seen before. Combined with our own essence, it could save my species from our own perfection. Combined." The word hung in the Montana night air like a crystal about to shatter. Aria moved with liquid grace, straddling his lap in one fluid motion that seemed to bend space itself. Her ethereal dress became almost transparent, revealing a form that shifted between solid matter and pure energy. Points of light swirled around them like fireflies made of stardust, each one carrying a fragment of melody that wove together into an alien symphony. "Let me show you what it means to dance with the stars," she whispered against his lips. Her breath tasted like lightning and forever, ozone and eternity. When she kissed him, Marcus felt himself falling upward into the night sky, his consciousness expanding beyond the limits of his human form. In his pocket, his phone vibrated with increasing urgency. Jenny's message went unread. "Where are you? We need to talk about us. About our future. I found something at the doctor's today." But Earth's gravity seemed less and less relevant as Aria's cosmic dance pulled him further from everything he'd once thought was real. The night it happened, the northern lights painted Montana's sky in colors that had never existed on Earth before. The Chen family orchard hummed with otherworldly energy, each apple tree glowing from within like bioluminescent sentinels. Their fruit turned translucent, becoming crystal globes filled with swirling starlight that pulsed in harmony with some distant cosmic rhythm. Aria materialized in a clearing among the trees, wearing nothing but light itself. Her skin was mapped with constellations unknown to human astronomers, each point of light pulsing with the rhythm of alien stars. Living patterns of energy flowed across her form like celestial tattoos, telling stories of galactic evolution in a language of pure luminescence. "Tonight," she said, her voice resonating at frequencies that made reality itself shimmer and bend. We create something the universe has never seen. A new species, born of stardust and Earth's raw vitality. Marcus had spent 2 weeks in a daze of cosmic wonder, but this moment crystallized with shocking clarity. Every cell in his body sang with recognition, responding to frequencies that human nervous systems were never designed to perceive. His clothes fell away, transformed into butterflies of light that scattered among the glowing trees. Their coupling transcended physical union. As their bodies joined, Marcus felt his consciousness expand beyond Earth's atmosphere, beyond the solar system, beyond normal human perception. He saw the spiral arms of the Milky Way from outside, witnessed the birth of stars in the Orion Nebula, tasted the light of suns that had died before Earth was born. Aria's form shifted between solid and energy, taking him with her through states of matter that human science had yet to discover. Through it all, genetic codes danced and reformed, human DNA intertwining with cosmic patterns in a double helix that spiraled through multiple dimensions. Every moment contained eternities. Every touch sparked new possibilities across parallel universes. Afterward, Aria's belly gleamed with a soft blue radiance that seemed to fold space around itself. "It's done," she whispered, tracing luminous patterns on his chest that left trails in the air like comet tails. "Our genetic patterns have merged in ways my people thought impossible. The child will be neither human nor Lemurian, but something entirely new, a bridge between states of being." Reality crashed back like a tidal wave as Marcus's phone lit up with Jenny's face. She was calling, not just texting, for the 3rd time that night. With trembling fingers still trailing starlight, he declined the call, unable to face the grounding force of his earthly life in this moment of cosmic transformation. "What happens now?" he asked, watching the dimensional glow pulse beneath Aria's skin, creating patterns that hurt his eyes if he looked too long. "Now," she said, rising to hover a few inches above the ground as space-time rippled around her. "The real changes begin. Your world and mine, nothing will remain the same." Above them, the stars seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see what their union would birth into the universe. Strange phenomena began manifesting around Pine Creek. The apples in the Chun orchard not only glowed but defied gravity, floating from their branches to dance in complex orbital patterns. People reported seeing their reflections move independently in mirrors, sometimes showing versions of themselves in different clothes, different ages, different lives. Marcus discovered new abilities emerging daily. He could hear thoughts drifting from passing cars, catch glimpses of possible futures in puddles after rain, and sometimes objects would float toward his hands before he reached for them. The luminescent trees responded to his presence, their light pulsing in sync with his heartbeat. At Pete's auto repair, engines started running on starlight instead of gasoline. Customers complained about their cars levitating slightly off the ground or their radios picking up transmissions that seemed to come from other planets. Pete blamed it on solar flares, but his eyes held worry when he looked at Marcus. Jenny confronted him outside the garage on a Thursday afternoon that felt like it was happening in multiple timelines simultaneously. The air crackled with dimensional static as she approached. "You've changed," she said, reaching for his hand but pulling back when actual sparks flew between their fingers. "Your eyes, they're starting to look like stars. And I need to tell you something important." Before she could finish, Aria materialized beside them, her pregnant belly now a visible sphere of swirling galaxies seen through her translucent dress. Jenny screamed, but stood her ground, transfixed by the cosmic display. "He's evolving," Aria explained, her voice making the air vibrate at frequencies that turned nearby windows into kaleidoscopes. "The child's power affects its father, rewriting his genetic code to accommodate higher dimensional awareness. And now," she turned those impossible eyes on Jenny, studying her with ancient wisdom, "it seems to be reaching for others too. How fascinating." Jenny's eyes began to glow with a faint blue luminescence, and Marcus watched in amazement as her entire being seemed to shift slightly out of phase with regular reality. "I understand," she whispered, though what she understood remained unspoken. Her hand unconsciously moved to her own stomach, a gesture that sent a jolt of panic through Marcus. In the distance, black government helicopters appeared on the horizon, their rotors leaving trails of fractured spacetime in the air. The child's presence was changing more than just them. It was transforming the very fabric of reality around Pine Creek. Above them, the sky began to fold like origami, revealing glimpses of other worlds through the creases. Military vehicles surrounded the Chen orchard, their metal surfaces warping with reflected starlight. The apple trees had completely detached from the ground, their roots trailing cosmic energy as they orbited an invisible center of gravity. Marcus, Jenny, and Aria hovered within a bubble of distorted spacetime where multiple realities bled into each other. "The child is breaking down the walls between dimensions," Aria explained, her belly now a swirling vortex of cosmic energy that seemed to contain entire galaxies. "It exists in all possible timelines simultaneously, trying to reconcile them into a new form of reality." Scientists in hazmat suits approached with equipment that sparked and transformed in proximity to their energy field. Geiger counters turned into crystalline flowers, spectrum analyzers became butterflies of pure light, and electromagnetic sensors dissolved into songs that could be seen as well as heard. "I feel everything," Jenny whispered, her body now semi-transparent, showing constellations beneath her skin. "All possible versions of us. All the choices we never made." Her eyes had become completely blue like Aria's, reflecting universes that hadn't yet been born. Marcus watched as reality fractured around them like a broken mirror. Through each crack, he glimpsed different versions of Pine Creek. One where the trees grew downward into a sky made of ocean. Another where people had evolved alongside the cosmic entities rather than apart from them. A third where time flowed in reverse and butterflies turned back into caterpillars made of starlight. The military opened fire, but as the bullets entered their field of distorted spacetime, they transformed. Some became seeds that sprouted instantly into crystalline flowers that chimed with alien music. Others split into multiple quantum states, becoming both ammunition and anti-ammunition, annihilating each other in bursts of creative energy that painted new constellations in the sky. Through it all, the child's presence grew stronger, its consciousness reaching across dimensions to touch every mind within reach. Soldiers lowered their weapons, their eyes reflecting the infinite possibilities unfolding before them. Scientists forgot about containment protocols as their instruments revealed truths that rewrote their understanding of reality. The sky above Pine Creek began to crack open like a cosmic egg, revealing something vast and incomprehensible beyond. A space where all possibilities existed simultaneously, where the laws of physics were more like gentle suggestions, and where the boundaries between thought and reality, matter and energy, past and future, blurred into a new form of existence. Pine Creek's evacuation order came too late. The Chen family orchard had become a nexus of impossible events, with apple trees floating in complex geometric patterns, their roots trailing strings of quantum possibilities. Marcus's parents watched their life's work transform into a cosmic garden where fruit ripened into doorways to other dimensions. "The child is creating a new kind of space," Aria explained, her form now fluctuating between solid matter and pure energy. "A realm where all possibilities can coexist without collapsing into a single reality." Jenny's transformation accelerated beyond human perception. Her body became a living prism, refracting timelines instead of light. "I remember lives we haven't lived yet," she whispered, her voice echoing through multiple dimensions. "I see us together in infinite variations, you, me, Aria, the child. We're all connected across every possible universe." Military containment protocols crumbled as reality itself began to fold. Soldiers found themselves experiencing multiple versions of their lives simultaneously. Scientists' minds expanded to encompass understandings that their human brains shouldn't have been able to contain. The child's influence reached through time as well as space. Past and future versions of Pine Creek overlapped like transparent photographs. People saw themselves as children and elderly simultaneously, experienced paths not taken, lives not lived. "The convergence is reaching critical mass," Aria announced as her belly became a window into infinite possibility. "When the child emerges, It will either stabilize these new connections or... She didn't need to finish. The torn sky above them showed what lay at stake, endless universes waiting to either merge or shatter, depending on what happened next in this small Montana town that had become the center of a cosmic revolution. Through the cosmic rift above Pine Creek, Marcus witnessed layers of reality colliding. He saw Aria's homeworld, Aria, its crystalline cities crumbling into stardust as their civilization's perfection became their downfall. But he also saw Jenny's timeline branching into thousands of possibilities. Some where she opened her bakery, others where she became a quantum physicist studying the very phenomena now engulfing them. The child will be born across all realities simultaneously, Aria announced, her form now pure energy shaped by thought. But you must choose your anchor point, Marcus. Every universe will have a version of you, but your prime consciousness needs a home dimension. How can I choose? Marcus watched as multiple versions of himself phased in and out of existence. In one reality, he'd followed his parents' wishes and become a renowned surgeon pioneering interdimensional healing. In another, he'd inherited the orchard and discovered how to grow hybrid fruits that gave people glimpses of other worlds. In a third, he was an interstellar diplomat bridging the gap between Earth and Aria. Jenny reached for his hand, her touch sending cascades of shared memories cascading through his mind, both those they'd lived and those they hadn't yet experienced. Maybe we don't have to choose just one, she suggested, her voice carrying harmonics from other dimensions. The child is teaching us how to exist in multiple states. The military's containment perimeter dissolved as reality itself began to melt. Tanks transformed into living metal creatures that prowled the edges of normalcy. Helicopters split into quantum duplicates, each following a different probability path through the fragmenting sky. The child's power reached across dimensions, pulling all possibilities into a single point of infinite probability. Each moment stretched into eternity as the universe held its breath, waiting to see what new form of existence would emerge from this cosmic convergence. It's time, Aria and Jenny said in unison, their voices harmonizing across the multiverse as the boundaries between them began to blur. The child began emerging into multiple realities simultaneously, each birth creating ripples that transformed everything they touched. The Chun orchard became a fractal pattern repeating infinitely across dimensions, each iteration slightly different but fundamentally connected. In one reality, Pine Creek evolved into a spaceport where humans and Lemurians traded knowledge and technology. In another, it remained a small town, but its apple trees produced fruit that let people glimpse alternate timelines. In a third, the entire town phased into a quantum state, becoming a living bridge between universes. Marcus experienced each version simultaneously, his consciousness fragmenting and reforming like light through a multidimensional prism. He watched himself grow old with Jenny in a house surrounded by glowing apple trees that sang to the stars. He saw himself exploring the cosmos with Aria, teaching their child how to fold space into origami shapes. He witnessed timelines where all three of them transcended traditional relationships, forming a new kind of family unit that existed across multiple planes of reality. The dimensional barriers are dissolving completely, Aria announced, her voice echoing through every version of existence. We must stabilize the convergence, or all realities will collapse into chaos. Jenny's body pulsed with accumulated quantum energy. I understand now we're meant to be the anchors, all of us across all dimensions. The military's remaining forces watched in awe as their weapons transformed into tools of creation rather than destruction. Scientists' instruments recorded data that would revolutionize human understanding of reality, if they could only translate it back into linear time. The child's birth reached its crescendo, each version resonating with the others to create a harmony that made the fabric of space-time sing. In that moment, Marcus understood that their small town had become the focal point for a cosmic evolution that would ripple across all possible universes. The child manifested as a being of pure quantum potential, simultaneously infant and ancient, human and alien, matter and energy. Its first cry resonated across the multiverse, creating harmonic patterns that restructured local reality. The convergence requires stabilization, Aria said, her form now a constellation of living light. a trinity of anchors to hold the new paradigm in place. Jenny's transformed body radiated accumulated dimensional energy. We're already connected across every timeline. The child chose us for this, all of us. Marcus felt the truth vibrating through every version of himself. The quantum mechanics of love had created something unprecedented, a family unit that transcended dimensional boundaries. The child had engineered its own birth to create permanent bridges between realities. Military weapons blossomed into gardens of light. Scientists watched their equipment record the birth of new physical laws. Pine Creek rippled with quantum possibility as the child's consciousness touched everything within reach. We're becoming something new, Marcus realized, watching his body harmonize with the cosmic frequencies surrounding them. Not just us, everything. The child's power flowed through all three of them, transforming them into beings that could exist simultaneously across multiple realities. The orchard became a nexus point where dimensions overlapped like pages in a cosmic book, each reality bleeding beautiful impossibilities into the next. Pine Creek exists now in a state of quantum superposition. Maps show it as a small Montana farming town, but visitors never experience quite the same place twice. The Chen family orchard operates as a dimensional sanctuary where reality flexes and flows like a living thing. The trees bear fruit that contains universes, each apple a window into alternate possibilities. Those who eat them dream of crystal cities and starlit dances. Local children learn to fold space-time before they learn to ride bikes, taught by a being who appears sometimes as a young boy with galaxy eyes, sometimes as a girl trailing stardust, sometimes as pure energy shaped by joy. Three figures move through the quantum layers of Pine Creek. Marcus, whose consciousness spans multiple realities. Jenny, who learned to weave timelines like threads. And Aria, who found that saving her species meant evolving beyond their crystalline perfection. They exist in all possible relationships simultaneously: lovers, co-parents, fellow explorers of the infinite. The military maintains a research base disguised as a weather station, their weapons permanently transformed into tools of creation. Scientists who study the phenomena find their equations expanding into new forms of mathematics, their instruments recording symphonies of quantum possibility. The child grows in all timelines simultaneously, appearing at different ages in different dimensions. It teaches humans to see beyond their linear perspective while learning Earth's raw vitality, bridging the gap between cosmic potential and grounded reality. On certain nights, when dimensional barriers grow particularly thin, visitors can see all versions of Pine Creek at once, layer upon layer of possibility made manifest. Through every iteration, three guardians watch over their impossible child as it dances between stars, their combined love creating new forms of existence with every breath. The story continues across all dimensions, branching endlessly like the roots of a cosmic tree that bears fruit tasting of stardust and infinite possibility. In every version, love proves stronger than the barriers between worlds, and evolution takes unexpected paths toward a future where impossible is just another word for not yet imagined. The end, or perhaps the beginning of everything.